Good morning. This is Bill from Curious Cars and Auto House of Naples on what is, again, a muggy and shitty Florida Friday morning. It really is. I mean, we've gotten little tinges of season coming in every once in a while, maybe in the evening, sometimes in the morning. I feel this little residue of season coming, but then it just goes right the hell away, as it has now. And again, the glasses are fogged up, and you know, the shirt feels damp and everything's humid, and it just kind of sucks. But everyone's tired of hearing about the weather. Maybe I'll update it again when something changes, if it ever friggin' does, which it probably won't. We're probably just gonna have another hot, miserable season, not one of those great, rare, really cold ones where it gets down to freezing. And as a kid at the bus stop, I got my tongue stuck to a stop sign. Those were the days. We just haven't seen those in a while. The last one was probably 4 or 5 years ago. A real quick video today, and normally I wouldn't even do this because I've probably done 40 E-classes and at least 20 E-class cabriolets, so it's not like this subject hasn't been broached before, but this one is a little bit special, number one. Number two, I just wasn't going to have anything else done this week, and I wanted to get a second video in, because what the hell. And number three, just what the hell. So I could call this video a few different things. Number one is a review of a 2014 E350 cab. That's number one. Number two, why I like to buy used cars from Germans. That's a thing. And number three, why I absolutely despise fire ants. As I was photographing this car earlier, you get in kind of a zone when you're photographing. You're like, running around the runway model or something, snapping pictures, flipping her hair around, and you don't think about it. I noticed my ankle was tinging a little bit, and then I realized I had stepped in these little bastards, and they had started chewing into my flesh, and only a matter of time before there was nothing left of me. So terrific morning. The whiskey has numbed that pain a little bit, which is helpful, and certainly the pills have helped with that too, but you can still feel it, and it's a pain that's going to linger. And oh God, anyway, what are you going to do? So anyway, look, in the spirit of a short review, I'm not going to get into Peter's kid's really intensely shitty job on cutting the grass, where he left grass clippings all over the yard, making my videos look terrible. I won't get into that. I won't even talk about the goats that have never been seen again. And I'm instead going to leap, running, diving into this 2014 Mercedes E350 Cabriolet. I probably won't even mention the birds, which are going friggin' insane all around me. Anyway, this 2014 E350 Cabriolet. Real quick, in one of the last videos, I mentioned, that Charles Manson should probably run for office in today's climate. And some people verily, there's the whiskey talking. Some people very helpfully pointed out that he's been dead for years. And I'm sorry, in this climate, I really just don't see that as an impediment. It's obvious to me that we will elect people who are, for all intents and purposes, deceased. So I think Charles has a shot. And frankly, he'd be probably a very interesting candidate in this day and age. But I digress. I'm going to get back into the car. So again, I've done many of these things. This one is kind of special. Secondly to that, I haven't done one in a while, and frankly, this is the car I kind of cut my teeth on, and I just thought it would be a fun little walk down memory lane to go over a E-Class in a very brief, non-40-minute video. This is a 2014, so this is a 212, a W212. Actually, this one being a convertible. It's a, what the hell do they call it? An A207, I believe. The coupe would be a C207. The sedan is a W212, but for the sake of argument, we're going to call it a 212 because that's basically the platform that it is, without getting into the minutia of ridiculous Mercedes chassis nomenclature. It replaced the W211 E-Class, which is one of my favorites. I think a really, really attractive car, and frankly, one I would daily drive today if I found a good one. I haven't seen, the last one I had was a few months ago. It was one of those Saks Fifth Avenue editions, and frankly, I wish I'd hung on to it. It was a sweetheart. That one also replaced the what was that? That was the 211 we're just talking. Then the 210. That was a very sort of controversial Daimler Chrysler production that was designed to make the E-Class more accessible to everybody, and without the stodgy, overbuilt quality. And it's a little bit controversial, but I think it's a great car. And frankly, they're cheap enough running around now that if you need a good used car, you really can't go wrong with the W210. They have minor issues here and there, and who cares? Just drive them into the ground. They're really great. And the 210 came out to replace what was the first official E-Class, which was the W124. Now, I know Mercedes has built executive sedans going back decades, but none of them were really badged as an official E. Frankly, until like 93 on the W124. Before that, the E was essentially meant to stand for fuel injection on the car engines, which obviously at a certain point everything was friggin' fuel injected. And then at a certain point the E became a class of its own when it became the E320 back in 1993. Don't hold me to that, but I'm pretty sure of it. So truly, this is only that was the first, the second, the third. This is the fourth gen E-Class. There's the fifth is out now, or probably soon to be a sixth. And this one, the fifth one, was meant to recapture the glory that some people said had been lost by Mercedes and their desire to make the cars more accessible, to make them not quite just for stodgy old rich guys, but also for, other people. And in that spirit, of course, they had come out with a bunch of different sporty and AMG models and V8 models, convertibles, that sort of thing. What was unusual in the prior gen, in the W211 gen, was that instead of an E convertible or an E coupe, they moved it over to a CLK, which the CLK was meant to be the E level convertible. Now, it was based on the C class, and this is where I can get into fist fights with people, okay? Because the CLK was not a C-Class convertible, even though it was technically based on a C-Class platform. In fact, the very same platform that this E-Class convertible is based on. It was meant to be an E-level convertible in terms of powertrain and expense. If you went and bought a new CLK in 2007, especially with a V8 in it, and you paid 70 grand for it, you really didn't feel like you'd gone out and bought a C-Class. I'll tell you that much. And ditto this car. It's just the way that they base the coupes and the convertibles to, I don't know if it was for ease of building them or for sportiness, lightness, whatever the hell it is. It doesn't really matter. But even though it's based on a C platform, it is an E-level car. And frankly, because it's on the C platform, I often like to say about this that Mercedes accidentally built a very reliable car. Because, of course, the C is their least complicated and, frankly, most reliable platform. Through Mercedes history, the E has been the best seller. I'm sure that's now been replaced with SUVs, with MLs and whatnot, which I think is a ridiculous shame, but yeah, what are you going to do? But anyway, historically, the E has been the best for them, and I agree with it. I think the E is just exactly right. I mean, the S is maybe too big, the C is maybe too small, and the E as a Goldilocks car just sort of fits perfectly right in the middle. And other than those six-cylinder S's from the earlier days, like the 300 SE 126, probably the E's are probably my favorite Benz of all time. In 2014, this one, it has the second gen of the new engine. That came out actually in 13. And then in 14, it got new updated facelift styling, which you can take it or leave it. I mean, there's no question that the styling of this car looks much, much more modern than the E that first came out in 2010, and the convertible in 11, and then the sedan and convertible that ran through 2013. This certainly did forwardize, if that's a word, and it's probably a whiskey word, the design of the car to make it much better looking in terms of what was out at the time. But I do think the original design of the 212 was also quite pretty, and very frankly, it's probably the one that I prefer. This one has some sort of, it's got the adaptive special light package, where each headlight looks like it costs $11,000, and frankly, if you have to replace it, it probably does. I mean, look at this over-engineered, insane looking headlight assembly with the ropey LED things and the big reflectors and all these little jewels. I mean, good God, does that look a lot more intense than just going into Advance Auto and buying yourself an 1157 or now what the hell, H7 or something, you know, some kind of normal bulb that you could put in there. I could only imagine what these things cost to replace. This one, being sort of a special order car, had tons of options on it, including the sport package. So you can see it has those big AMG twin spoke wheels. It's got vented discs behind it, all very handsome. It's got bumper treatments in the front and rear. It's got ground effect treatments down the side, a little lip spoiler on the back, and I think I've just stepped in more fire ants. And AMG exhaust with twice pipes at the bottom. You see it's got the little bumper sensors. They were, you know, no longer is that just a parking sensor, what they used to call Parktronic for Mercedes. That is now an integral part of all the ludicrous safety and autonomous systems that these cars have, where it senses what's going on around the car so it can take away the act of driving from you slowly but surely until we're all just sitting in cars like vegetables and they're driving around for us. So anyway, let's just get right into the trunk of this thing in the spirit of one of these old-time short videos. So there's a little pinchy thing behind there. You can see I'm leaving thumbprints with the moisture. There you see the camera. And here is the back. So, you know, it is a 4-seat convertible. You've got pretty good room. If you look under there, you could slide all kinds of crap. I mean, you could put a couple of AR-15s lengthways in there, and they're going to fit just fine. Your infant containment nets are shit in here, I hate to say. You put an infant in this little pocket here, and he's getting out. I mean, look at that. I've defeated it, barely trying. And they're just not going to stay. So they're going to be rolling around the trunk, and, you know, what are you going to do? There is a front license plate. I don't know what the hell that is. It's like an umbrella lid that nobody took out. Of course, why would Dalton bother? And then a first aid kit, everything a wounded German would need. Under here, you've got the nice little gloves they give you if you need to change the tire. You do get an actual spare tire in this car, which is becoming more rare as time goes on. And everything looking good inside the trunk. Have a look under the hood. All right, so here it is. This engine came out in 2013, so this is the second year of it. It replaced the prior 3.5 liter V6, which put out 268 in the horsepower department. This one puts out 302, which is the same as the V8s from the mid-2000s, so it's a pretty damn peppy V6 in this car. Also, of course, gets better fuel mileage, more torque, you know, just typical shit that Mercedes does and all these companies do. They make the engines more complex and more lighter, smaller, turbocharged, that kind of crap, and they get more juice out of them. I'm very happy that this is not some kind of a Turbo 4, which undoubtedly the V6 models became Turbo 4s later on. This is still a true naturally aspirated V6, and it's sad that I can appreciate that, but I do. And it's direct injection, which frankly gives these engines something of a ticking sound, which I'm not a big fan of. You really only hear it when the hood is up. You really don't hear it at all when the hood's down, but they have a little bit of a tick, 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 tick that the direct injection does. I believe Porsche defeated that by putting a second set of expensive injectors in, but of course they don't care what their cars cost. Mercedes started to, so they couldn't do it that way. So I guess they just came up with more sound deadening to limit that, and there it is. So, you know, the direct injection cars give you a bit of a tick, but what are you going to do? You know, stuff like this is interesting. I like this. If you need to jump the car, Mercedes gives you this big lug here that you can could clip it to, and a little remote thing, so you don't have to get underneath that guy to get to the battery. It just makes it a bit easier. Does it matter anymore? I don't know. I mean, the days of the true serviceable, almost military level Mercedes servicing are over, and this is about as much as we can hope for anymore. Did it restore the grandeur of Benz? Certainly not in the mechanical engineering department, at least in terms of conveniences, but maybe in the rest of it, who knows. So this is mated to a 7-speed Steptronic transmission, an adaptive transmission that will learn your driving style and shift accordingly, and it all works very well to turn in decent fuel mileage, and again, 300 or so horsepower, which just ain't bad. So all right, there it is. That's under the hood. I'm gonna get my crap in the trunk now, hang the license plate, and then we're gonna keep going the rest of the way. All right, so in the spirit of getting along, we're going to get right along and just keep the ball rolling. You see I got my tag hanging from the back. You see those ropey looking LED tail lamps this thing has, all very snazzy. Little bits of chrome trim and stainless trim, and yeah, it all looks very nice. Little shark fin antenna there on top of the deck lid. At the back, you've got these, I don't know why they have speakers aimed up. You'd think it was like these goofballs in Orlando with their 18-inch subwoofers, aimed towards the world so they can share their music with all the cars around them. I'm not sure if that's what Mercedes had in mind, and frankly, I'm not even sure if those are speakers. In fact, I doubt they are. I think they're probably just vents for whatever the hell is underneath. This little guy here is part of the Parktronic. Those are the beepers for reversing. So when you're reversing, you're able to see that in your rear view mirror, and it goes from green to yellow to red, along with the beeping indicators when you're getting close to something. And both of these headrests act as rollover protection, so they pop up in the event of calamity. And the little screen in the center also pops up and acts as a windscreen. Sometimes people ask what these are, because you only see them with the top down. That's just the catch for the soft top. It latches into that guy there when it goes back. So in fact, let's run the soft top. We can do that, I think, with the key. If we press and hold the lock button. And again, I can't see anything because of the fogged up glasses, but something seems to be happening, so we'll go with it. And there it is. And I'll stop for a moment. This reminds me of the past so much. You can see the engineering that Mercedes put into this top. You've got this giant amount of thick foam padding that keeps road noise and wind noise way down. So when you've got this top up, you really feel like you're in a coupe. You don't feel like you're in a convertible at all. And then this lattice work of little strings to keep everything tight. It's going back down again. Let's press and hold, lock, and get it back up. Those little flaps moving. And it's just sort of an elegant system. It latches itself into the front, up comes the back, down goes that hard cover, down goes the rear. It all slides itself nicely into place, latches up front, and then up come the windows, but not the front, because I think that's some sort of, they don't want infants to get their hands caught in there or something and be limbless for the rest of their lives. Mercedes gets really weird with safety. Like any Kia now, it has a keyless system, so you can lock it with that little guy. You open it just by pulling it, and everything nice there. This car, here's where it gets kind of interesting, and why, what the hell is this? It's a scuff that Dalton didn't clean off. This is why I like buying cars from Germans, which could be another potential title of this video. This is, again, a 2014. It's a one-owner local car from, right up the street. Really nice condo it was kept in. 5,700 miles. The guy barely drove it. These are the second. I bought two cars. I bought an ML from this guy and an E at the same time. This car and the ML. The ML already sold. It's gone. That one had 12,000 miles. This E has 5,700. I mean, what is this guy doing? I bought two cars from him about 5 years ago, a 99 Jaguar that had 8,000 miles and an 07 ML that had 15,000. And, from what I understand, he's a bit of a COVID refugee, or at least he has been, because, of course, Germany's been off limits on the the American travel front. And I might add, there's people around me getting COVID, and they're dropping, man. They're miserable. They're down for like a week. I think the whiskey's working. The whiskey is working, because so far I have avoided it. But anyway, I digress. This guy goes out and buys 2 of these things for cash from Mercedes-Benz of Naples. Obviously, he's one of their better customers at this point. Puts not quite 6,000 miles on it, and then sells the damn thing. And I'm so happy to have it. I love buying cars from Germans, and we'll get into why. Not only are they perfectly kept in every annoying way, but the records and that sort of thing are just fantastic. I'm going to take my glasses off. I can't see anything. But anyway, there you go. So, this was the car that was going to restore the grandeur of the E-Class from the 210 and the 211, which some people considered kind of cheap. So they, in fact, oh God, I'm dropping my phone. And in fact, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to get the top back down. I know I'm risking running the video long doing this, but it's much easier to show this car with the top down. So let's just do that again. And you can see it go down. So now I can just press and hold the unlock. We'll see what happens. Absolutely nothing happens. That's fantastic. What is going on here? All right, we've got a lock. Now we've got an unlock. There we go. Okay, so the back windows go down. Everything starts working in reverse. Up goes that little tonneau cover. Top releases from the front. And down it all goes. A nice little ballet of machinery. Lovely. All right, so now we get a better view of this. The interior is absolutely gorgeous. I mean, the outside is this iridium silver, which is, of course, Mercedes-Benz signature color. It certainly was in 2014. The inside is this mixture of a dove gray with black accents and black carpet that just looks fantastic, and you get the benefit of a light interior with the black carpet, so it really doesn't show a lot of wear, and that's nice. You also get this dark bird's eye maple wood that's nicely trimmed. They upped their game on the buttons and switches. Everything looks a little bit nicer than it did in the prior gen. You get a little leather door thing there, a little map pocket, nice little place to stuff a small 9mm or something. Even the little lift to move the seat forward is nicer than it was on the prior gen. In the back, the Canadians are going to be pretty chipper. Seating for 2. You got a little roller console here that reminds me of older Mercedes. You get a little center console lift down so you're able to rest your tired elbows, and there's a pass-through into the trunk. If you need to bring ski poles with your sniper rifles, you'll be able to do that. So anyway, everything nice and lovely. In the back seat, these have a Neck Pro. This helps minimize your injuries in the event of trouble, and again, as we said, those things come up and act as rollover protection. So all right, let's get in and fire this sucker up. All right, there in the mirror, you can see it's, turn that down. That lights up. It's got that blind spot assist. It has the seatbelt presenters, which are nice. They give you these little robotic arms which shoot the belt out at you. Your headlights over here, even though they don't work like old Mercedes lights, they look like them. So people who've driven Mercedes for decades will know how to use them. The steering wheel is kind of a sport setup with more of that bird's eye maple and the leather, all very nice. You got multi-function shit on it. You got voice command on it. You've got a very nicely simple laid out instrument cluster that has your fuel, your temp gauge, your speedometer with an information center in the middle, and of course your tach over on the right, and a whole wide variety of idiot lights and signals and everything else all around it. Here you have Mercedes-Benz Command Unit, I think one of the final versions of the Command, and this gives you all kinds of different crap. You can go over into your navigation. Actually, because of the photos, I had set it up earlier to be in night mode. Let me see if I can get that back to, oh, for the love of God. Come on, there, let's get that back to automatic. Settings, display, automatic, there we go. So it's going to go back into day mode now, I'm sure. Yeah, maybe not. Let's see what the nav. Yeah, it's in day mode. Anyway, you got your navigation. You can program it. You can even program that with the voice command. The audio, all kinds of crap now. Oh, God. I'm sure that's a terrible station. But you've got AM, FM, SAT, disc, memory card, USB, Bluetooth audio, and auxiliary. So basically any snowflake is going to be pretty happy with what goes on there. Let's see if this guy left any discs in here. Oh, he did. All right, what do we got here? We got nothing. Ursula Poznansky. Sounds Polish.
Seufzend marschierte er auf das Bahnhofsgebäude zu und hielt Ausschau nach den beiden Durchschnittsgesichtern, die er auf den Facebook-Profilen der Helmreichs betrachtet hatte. Silvia und Martin.
I imagine this is some sort of German self-help book on how to be friendly and cheerful. So I'm going to leave that on. But anyway, there it is. So you've got that. You've got your Bluetooth telephone. You've got, of course, the Bluetooth audio, video. You can watch your porn when nobody's looking, but only when you're stopped. And then in system, you can change all this crap around, including the little analog clock somehow and the 360 camera. There with the analog clock, that certainly is prerequisite on any luxury car, as I've mentioned before. If you don't have that, forget it. And down here are all the direct access buttons for the command, so you can get into radio, disc, Navitel just by pressing a button instead of dicking around with this big joystick control. You've got your hot seats, nice stuff, cool seats. This is the air scarf. If you hit this, you can have heated seats. When I first saw this button, it mystified me years ago, and then hitting it, I realized you hit that, out come those presenters. So if you're sitting in a parking lot and you didn't put your seatbelt on in time before they retracted, you hit that guy and they come out again to make it easier for you. So all very nice. This is your hazard, this eco thing, which is that ridiculous start-stop at traffic lights, which I hate. So we're going to turn that off. And then, of course, the passenger seat controls. The climate control speaks for itself, dual side, whatever. It is what it is. You got cup holders there. You've got a genuine real ashtray, which is shocking. Over here, you've got your engine transmission drive setup where you can go economy, sport, or manual. So if I hit sport, now it's a red S telling you be careful, you're in danger of being sporty. Manual, you have to flippity flip your way through the gears with those guys. And then E is just economy, just basic regular driving. Underneath that little flapper there, your top controls. This will run all four windows at once. This will run the top up and down, which by the way is good to 25 miles an hour, so that's great. And then this guy will raise the back sunscreen or windscreen for you, and at speed, I don't know why they changed that. You used to be able to raise it when you're just sitting there, but now you have to be driving. It will raise a windscreen up here on top of the windshield panel to cut down on buffeting and shit while you're driving around. Inside here, in that rather dramatic opening thing, they still give you this vintage iPod connector, which I don't know why. Nobody's used this since like 1992, but of course you can adapt that with the thing from Amazon, and then an auxiliary input, and then there's a USB in there. And actually it's really nice proper leather on this thing, which is just lovely. More of the bird's eye maple crap. You can see we've got the Harman Kardon stuff. We've got a self-dimming mirror. We've got automatic wipers, automatic high beams, automatic headlights. Again, all of that shit has been taken away from you because the Germans know better. And that I had the interior lights off for photos, but that's how they would work. You of course get your power steering column, tilt and telescope, your power mirrors, your power windows, and of course all of that will correlate to your memory seats and your assigned key. So all very fascinating stuff. And here's the real quick fun one. This is why I like buying cars from Germans. So he bought a US model, but he went out and bought himself a German manual, so I guess he'd be more comfortable reading it. I know the guy speaks English, but yeah, maybe he's a better German speaker. You of course get your set of books, all very nice stuff. You still get 2 sets of keys with it. And then here it is, the traditional German 3-ring binder. I love it. So I'm trying not to show the guy's name. I'm going to cut that out. But here's the original bill of sale for the car. There's all the back and forth email as he's buying it from long distance, having his secretary handle it, and of course any service records that also might go along with it. So I just love the way Germans keep stuff, and that's why I absolutely love. What the hell was that? There's music going off on my phone out of nowhere, which is now fallen under the seat. Let's get rid of that. Just to hit that while it's parked there, and we'll have a look at this window sticker. So there it is, 2014 E350 Cabriolet, iridium silver, gray black Napa leather, $60,200 base price, up to $73,600. So the guy spent some money in terms of options, and he did get a bunch of crap for that. So God bless him. I'm dropping my phone again. Over here is interesting. Here you can see in the safety security, you've got attention assist. That's a little coffee cup thing which will pop up. It scans your eyes and the way that you're driving, and if it thinks you're, screwing off, it's gonna light up red and tell you to pay that hell attention because everything's going south. That's interesting. You also get collision prevention assist. That runs the, all these little sensors and cameras. It detects if you're getting too close to other cars. It'll start applying brakes. It'll start doing other crap to try to get you to not crash. God bless it. Pre-safe, which is more of that. That decides that if a collision is imminent, it's going to run all the windows up, it's going to tighten your seatbelt, and it's going to emit a pink noise so your eardrums don't get blown out in the event of a big collision. So, all Mercedes stuff to keep you safe and happy. You've got electronic stability program, that's ESP, traction control. There's a button somewhere where you can turn that off, and good luck, it's just going to come right back on if it thinks it needs it. Adaptive brakes, that's kind of a cool feature that will decide, well, for instance, if you're on a hill and you come to a stop and then you let go, it's going to stop you from rolling back. It'll keep the brakes applied when it thinks they need to be applied. It also, in the rain, will occasionally just rub the pad against the disc in a way that you'll never feel, but it cleans it all off so it's ready to hit the brakes hard if it needs to. And again, that's pretty crafty shit from Mercedes. Brake assist system. At some point, Mercedes engineers decided that even in a panic stop, people didn't hit the brakes hard enough, so Mercedes engineers will use their system to do that for you and keep you safe. Of course, you also get the blind spot monitors, which everybody has to have now, especially the ladies. You get your attention assist and lane assist, so if you start drifting in lanes, it vibrates the steering wheel to let you know, hey, you're being a maroon, stop it. And otherwise, all the other stuff that helps keep you safe. The one thing I like is it's not loaded with what do you call it? Autonomous driving, the way that more modern ones would be, where they do all this stuff for you. I see that little P that popped up there. I want to see if this has active parking assist. Yeah, it does have active parking assist, so it does have that. If you're parallel parking, that means this car will actually turn the steering wheel for you. You set it up between two cars. If I go back to the dealer, I might set that up and do it, but it measures the space between a spot that you're parallel parking in. You say yes, you'd like it to help you park, and then all you have to do is run the brake and the gas, and the car will steer for you. So all very fascinating shit. Anyway, all right, I'm gonna head out. We don't have to wait for the gates, and then we're gonna go for a test drive. So driving these cars, you get pretty good throttle response, you get pretty good pep, the transmission shifts pretty imperceptibly. It's just a nice driving modern car. And now that we're at speed, and this is going to be windy, I'm going to lift this up so you can see the way that front windscreen is now popped up. Hopefully you saw that. I'm sure it sounded like a hurricane. But anyway, there it is. So that now prevents wind noise, which means that the driving, maybe you can actually hear me talking in the camera. The steering by wire, more or less, braking by wire, throttle by wire, not my favorite kind of shit. I much prefer it when the cars are directly connected with you, to the wheel, to the brakes, to everything else. But you know, this is the way of the modern world, and it's what allows for all of these autonomous things that everybody seems to want now. So you get the point. And look, I'm not going to ramble on and on and on, because here we are at a traffic light and it's just going to bore the tears out of everyone. But this is a 2014 E350 Cabriolet. There you see just 5,000 miles on the clock of this thing, so it's basically a new one. You can just get yourself a new 2014 E if you want one. I'll do a little highway cruise when we get there. But otherwise, thank you so much for having a look. Really appreciate it. Again, trying to keep the videos short. I am not. They are what they are. They're going to probably just get longer as time goes on. Thank you, everybody, for all your support, for the comments. I love reading them. I respond to a few, but it's just, you know, I'm overwhelmed. I'm not a very strong character, so other people are, but I'm not. But I thank you, I watch them, I love them, and I appreciate everything. We're going to try to have more fun stuff coming up. Next week we should have a Mark V, one of those Emilio Pucci editions, if I can get it ready, and some other fun stuff. So thanks very much, and we will see you with the next one. Take care.
Backwards round the break.